I met a guy online. He said he was a big shot from NYC. I said I was the princess of LA. He said he was 6 feet 2 inches with an 8-pack and 7 inches. I said I had a D cup and a body to die for. Then we met in person, and I was stunned. Seriously? An NYC tycoon who dates online? You're surprisingly down to earth. He was even more stunned. Seriously? Every single thing you said was a lie. You're a hell of a bullshitter. Babe, I want to see you. It was midnight, and I had just gotten out of the shower when a video call request popped up from my online boyfriend. I casually answered. On the screen was a man in a white silk robe. His features were sharp and cool, with a high-bridged nose and a clean, strong jawline. Flawless. It was Cole Reynolds, the NYC tycoon who was always in magazines. Damn, this deepfake tech is insane, I thought. It looks totally real. While I was silently critiquing the tech, my eyes were glued to the half-open collar of his robe. Cole followed my gaze and a sly, knowing smile touched his lips. Want to see the abs? Yeah. Are there really 8 of them? My math's not great, so don't try to pull a fast one on me. Take off my robe and count them for me. On my end of the video, I quietly swallowed. But then Cole shook his head, his eyes dimming with a sigh. No. We've been talking for so long, and you still won't show your face. You said your phone camera has been broken. Tiffany, are you lying to me? Yes. I rolled over in bed. Across the screen, Cole gave me a helpless, indulgent smile. Come on, be honest. I am being honest, I thought. You're the one who doesn't believe it. So, I started bullshitting again. Look, you know how it is for someone from my kind of family. My phone could get hacked at any moment. If a video like this got out, they'd blackmail me for millions. And if the wrong people got their hands on it, our company's stock would tank. We're talking hundreds of millions down the drain in minutes. You just don't understand the world of us rich people. On the other side of the screen, Cole looked completely baffled. Is corporate espionage really that intense in LA? You should get a professional to install some anti-surveillance software on your phone. Need a recommendation? I'd had enough of this line of bull. Time to change the subject. Let's talk about something more private, I said, cutting him off. A blush crept up Cole's handsome, pale face. He cleared his throat, subtly looking away as his long, slender fingers clenched at his side. Okay. What about? I purred his name in a syrupy, drawn-out tone, Mr. Reynolds. Cole's eyelids fluttered. He'd told me many times that he loved my voice, languid and soft, sweet but sultry, and utterly captivating. I want. His Adam's apple bobbed as he tugged at his collar, revealing a strong collarbone and a swath of cool, pale skin. To see your bank account balance. The collar was quickly pulled back into place. Cole gave a bitter smile, his long fingers pressing against his temples. Tiffany, stop messing with me. Let's meet up. This was the 3rd time Cole had asked to meet. I'd refused the first 2 times. His deepfake was just too good, and I'd gotten used to seeing the real Cole Reynolds on video. What if the actual guy was ugly? The disappointment would be too much. It would be an instant flame out. I was hesitant but also a little intrigued. Because besides his looks, we clicked on every other level. We could talk for hours, him spinning wild tales about this and that, and me right there with him, not to be outdone. He said he was a New York tycoon. I said I was an LA princess. He said he skipped the helicopter this morning and his Rolls-Royce got stuck in traffic. I said, tell me about it. My maid insisted on taking her electric scooter instead of the Land Rover I bought her. He said he was going to Hawaii to relax on a beach after his current project wrapped up. I said, don't even start. It makes me miss the snow in Switzerland and the countryside in France. We'd go back and forth like that, a relentless volley of bullshit, and neither of us ever missed a beat. Eventually, Cole couldn't keep up with me in the competitive sport of bragging about wealth. I figured it came down to our actual financial situations. I was making a decent salary for a recent grad, about $15,000 a month. I was basically a rock star among my peers, so I'd seen more of the world than he had. You have to ground your fantasies in reality. He just didn't have the foundation, so no amount of Googling could help him win. So, Cole switched tracks and started subtly showing off his physique. Did he really think I'd let him win? He was 6 feet 2 inches, so I obviously had to be at least 5 feet 7 inches. He claimed to have an 8-pack, so I found a random picture online and sent it to him as proof of my own defined abs. One brag led to another, and things started getting a little hot and heavy. The conversation veered into R-rated territory, and Cole asked to video chat. I was cautious about that stuff. I turned my own camera off immediately. You can show me, sure. But you want to see me? Not a chance. Turns out, Cole was a clever one. He actually used a deepfake of the real Cole Reynolds. I thought it was pretty considerate of him. Staring at Cole Reynolds's face, my dirty talk became inspired, divinely guided even. I had him wrapped around my little finger. After a few months of this, Cole couldn't take it anymore and kept pushing to meet. I was still on the fence. Suddenly, a message popped up in my group chat. Fiona, so it's settled. All of us who are still in New York are getting together this weekend. Let's do the Hilton. Everyone better be there. Then she tagged me. Tiffany, you're coming, right? I didn't reply. Fiona sent another message right after. Are you still not over Liam? Tiffany, it's been 6 years. Are you really still holding on to what happened back then? The only thing I'm holding on to is a grudge against your entire family. I gritted my teeth, ended the video call with Cole, and switched to the group chat, my fingers flying across the keyboard. Who said I'm single? I have a boyfriend. I'm bringing him with me this weekend. Liam, surprised emoji. Tiffany, you're dating someone? Since when? Where's he from? What does he do? Fiona, Tiffany, you've always been too proud. It's okay to be single, you know. You don't have to lie just to get back at us. I rolled my eyes and typed back a cold reply. You really think you're that important to me? A few other friends in the chat, sensing the tension, tried to smooth things over. They said they thought they remembered me mentioning a long-distance boyfriend I talked to on the phone every day. Jenna, Tiffany, you should bring him. We haven't met him yet. And let's just drop the past. We were all young and didn't know how to handle things. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't a big deal for them, maybe, but the pain it caused me was very real. In college, Fiona, Jenna, and I were all roommates. Fiona was from a well-off family in the city. She was cheerful, outgoing, and loved setting up mixers with guys from other dorms. Her high school was pretty famous in New York, and a lot of her classmates also went to NYU. Jenna and I, on the other hand, were from out of town and didn't know anyone. Back then, Fiona was obsessed with setting me up with Liam. Liam had been her class president in high school and was the heartthrob of the department next to ours. He was tall and handsome. After we all had dinner together a few times, Fiona suddenly told me Liam was into me. But he's super shy, she said. You'll have to be the one to make a move. Tiffany, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. I can help you out if you want. I'd never been in a relationship before and was completely clueless. Fiona spent her days in our dorm room talking up how great Liam was, and eventually, I fell for it. With Fiona's encouragement, I started pursuing Liam. I brought him breakfast in the morning and snacks in the afternoon. I texted him good morning, good afternoon, and good night, checking in like clockwork. Fiona, playing the part of the matchmaker, was always taking advantage of me, getting me to buy her meals. I'm so busy helping you bring him breakfast that I don't have time to eat myself, Tiffany. Could you just get mine too? My student allowance wasn't much, and after 2 months of this, I could barely afford to feed myself. Liam, for his part, remained frustratingly ambiguous. He accepted my gifts and went to the movies with me. He even had me help him with his homework. But beyond that, he never said a single word about us. I started to have second thoughts. Maybe I should just give up, I told Fiona. This is exhausting. I don't want to chase him anymore. Fiona panicked. Tiffany, you can't give up now. You're so close to breaking through. Don't you play the piano? Tomorrow's Liam's birthday. I'll help you get him alone, and you can play him his favorite song, All of Me. It's sure to work. Tiffany, I really don't want to see you two miss out. You've worked so hard for so long. Just try one more time, okay? I felt bad. Over the past 2 months, it wasn't just me putting in the effort. Fiona had been working hard as a matchmaker, too, running over to his department's building every chance she got. Even if it was just for Fiona's sake, I felt like I had to see this through to a proper conclusion. So, the next evening, I asked Liam to meet me in the music room. The setting sun cast a warm glow through the window, spilling onto the black and white keys. I sat at the piano, my long hair draped over my shoulders. My slender, pale fingers danced across the keys, a beautiful melody flowing from them. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Liam frozen in place, a flash of stunned admiration in his eyes. Suddenly, Fiona burst into tears. Liam, congratulations. Liam's face hardened. He walked over to Fiona and gripped her shoulders firmly. Congratulations for what? Why are you crying? Fiona shook her head. I don't know. I'm happy for you. Liam sighed. You silly girl. After all this time, you still don't know your own heart? You brought me breakfast every day. Was it for Tiffany, or because you wanted to spend time with me? Are you really telling me you don't know? Fiona started sobbing and threw herself into Liam's arms. I do know. But you were Tiffany's. What was I supposed to do? I've been in so much pain every single day. Seeing you text her, watching you go to the movies with her, do you have any idea how much that tortured me? As she spoke, she pounded his chest with her little fists. Liam held her tight, his own eyes turning red. You idiot. I don't belong to anyone. I'm my own person. I'm the Liam who's in love with Fiona. He then lowered his head and kissed her. They kissed passionately, their breathless sounds filling the room. I just sat at the piano, my mind completely blank. My hands, moving on their own, continued to play All of Me, providing the soundtrack to their dramatic reunion. What the actual hell was this? I never would have guessed I was just a pawn in their little game. What did those two bastards have against John Legend? What did All of Me ever do to them? I walked out of that music room and immediately blocked both Liam and Fiona. But we were roommates, so it was impossible to avoid each other. Fiona apologized to me in front of everyone, begging for my forgiveness. She claimed she always thought her feelings for Liam were just platonic and that she genuinely had good intentions when she introduced him to me. But in the process of helping me chase him, she said she slowly came to realize her true feelings. Tiffany, these past 2 months have been absolute torture for me. I've suffered enough. Please forgive me. Can we please still be friends? I ignored her. So Fiona put on a magnanimous act, saying she would give me some time. I buried myself in the library, studying day and night. Fiona and Liam were inseparable. Whenever I ran into them outside the dorm, Liam would stop and look at me with an apologetic expression. Tiffany, I'm really sorry, but you can't force feelings. I hope you can move on. A better guy will come along. They kept pulling this crap, and over time, other students started taking their side. Tiffany, Fiona didn't mean for it to happen. You're roommates, you don't have to make things so awkward. Fiona would shake her head, crying. She's still hung up on Liam, I know it. I can't force her to watch the guy she likes be with her friend. That would be too cruel to her. I've told her 1,000,000 times, I'm not interested in Liam. When I said that, nobody believed me, not even Fiona. And since I was too proud to be pitted, I had no choice but to pretend to be gracious and make up with her. Only then did they believe I was finally over Liam. After that, Fiona and I would speak to each other normally, no longer giving each other the silent treatment. We maintained that lukewarm relationship for years, right up until graduation. Fiona sent the room number to the chat. Saturday at 6 p.m. No bailing, everyone. Tiffany, I can't wait to meet your boyfriend. After being single for so long, any guy who catches your eye must be pretty special. At least better than my Liam, right? I replied, obviously. I exited the group chat and sent a voice message to Cole, my tone cautious. Hey, we've been talking for a year and a half now. Can you just give it to me straight? What do you actually look like? Cole paused for a moment, then said hesitantly, how do I put this? How do you compare to Cole Reynolds? I asked. I am Cole Reynolds, he replied. What? As handsome as Cole Reynolds? I was ecstatic. For real? You swear? Cross your heart and hope to die. A warm, indulgent laugh came from the other end of the line. Tiffany, we've been video chatting for ages. You still can't tell what I look like? His voice was clear and rich, with that magnetic quality of a mature man. Just based on his voice, I knew he had to be good-looking. I felt mostly relieved and agreed to meet him at the Hilton at 5:30 on Saturday evening. I'd get there half an hour early. That way, if it was a total flame-out, I could take him somewhere else to eat and just tell Fiona and the others that I got held up at work. It would save me from her ridicule. But, as they say, man plans, and God laughs. On Saturday, I got all dressed up. The moment I walked into the Hilton's first-floor lobby, I saw Fiona and Liam. Liam was in a black suit, his hair perfectly styled. He looked even more handsome than he had in college, and I could see women checking him out. Fiona looked incredibly smug, clinging to his arm as she greeted me. You're early, too. She scanned the lobby. So, Tiffany, where's this boyfriend of yours who's 10 times better than my Liam? I froze, stammering awkwardly, he's. Tiffany? A familiar voice, Cole's voice, came from behind me. The sound of leather shoes clicking on the marble floor grew closer, step by steady step. A shadow fell over me. My head was spinning, my heart twisting into a knot. I couldn't bring myself to turn around. How could the timing be so perfect? This is it. Liam is looking pretty sharp today. Cole's probably not going to compare. Is Fiona already gearing up to laugh at me? Whatever. So what if I lose? Cole is at least an interesting person. This whole looks comparison is pointless anyway. It was all about my own vanity. He shouldn't have to pay the price for it. I kept trying to console myself, but my body wouldn't listen. I stood there, stiff as a board, not daring to turn. I stared at Fiona's face, trying to read her expression to gauge what Cole looked like. I looked for a second, then another. What the hell was that look on her face? She and Liam both looked like idiots, their eyes wide and mouths hanging open. Liam, who had been standing casually, suddenly snapped to attention, standing ramrod straight with his hands stiffly at his sides and his chin slightly tucked. He looked more terrified than I did when I got caught skipping class by a professor. I was completely bewildered. Don't tell me Cole is one of our old professors. Please don't let it be old Mr. Henderson. As my mind raced, Cole patted my shoulder from behind. Tiffany? You there? I turned around stiffly. Before I could even get a clear look at Cole, a figure rushed past me, pushing me aside. Fiona's voice, distorted with excitement, pierced my eardrums. Mr. Reynolds. Oh my God, it's really you. You're even more handsome than in the magazines. You know our Tiffany? Cole raised an eyebrow. And you are? Fiona, we're all NYU alums. We're having a reunion here tonight. Cole, NYU? I thought it was Harvard. Ahem. Mr. Reynolds, I need to talk to you about something, I interrupted, sweat beading on my forehead. I grabbed Cole's arm and dragged him around a corner by the elevators, glancing around nervously. Seeing my furtive behavior, Cole's lips curved into a slight smile, his eyes crinkling. Tiffany, so this is a class reunion? Why didn't you tell me sooner? I let go of his arm and stared at the man in front of me with a complicated expression. He was about 6 feet 3 inches, with broad shoulders and long legs. He wore a black suit jacket over a white shirt, unbuttoned at the top, no tie. It gave him a rugged, devil-may-care look that was devastatingly handsome, even more striking than on video. A mix of emotions churned inside me as I walked a slow circle around him. Wait, so you're really Cole Reynolds? An NYC tycoon who dates online? You're surprisingly down to earth. Cole looked confused. What do you mean? We've been video chatting for ages. You didn't know I was Cole Reynolds? You, on the other hand. You're not exactly what I pictured. He took a step back, his eyes narrowing as he looked me up and down. 5'8"? Huh, just a little off. I'm 5 feet 6 inches. A thick, wavy mane of hair like a mermaid? I self-consciously touched my own straight hair, which barely brushed my shoulders, and looked down. I just got it cut. The spitting image of Scarlett Johansson? I lifted my face. Don't you think the shape of our nostrils is similar? Cole's gaze traveled back up my body, finally landing on my chest. D-cup. I gave him my solemn promise. That one's real. Well, almost. If I just gain another 20 pounds, it's totally achievable. Cole fell silent. After a long moment, he seemed to regroup and continued his interrogation. Harvard master's degree? NYU bachelor's. And the Sullivan family of LA. The Reynolds family in the north, the Sullivans in the south. The Sullivans were indeed the richest family in LA, and they were notoriously private. Their children were all abroad and never appeared in the media. I wrung my hands in shame. The Sullivans from Mountain View. That's my dad. My dad always calls me his princess. I wasn't lying. Cole put a hand to his forehead. Tiffany, so you're telling me that in all the time we've been talking, not a single word you've said has been true? You're one hell of a bullshitter. Well, yeah. Weren't we in a bullshitting contest? How was I supposed to know you were telling the truth the whole time? Now I just look like some shallow liar. Wait, no, you didn't tell the truth about everything. I grasped at the last straw, desperate to save face. This is how people are online. You lied too, you know. I just stretched the truth a tiny bit more. Cole, I didn't lie. Everything I told you was the truth. Impossible. I stared at him, a sly smile spreading across my face as I delivered the finishing blow. Are you really 7 inches? Did you measure? Everyone knows 7 inches is just an expression. What guy would actually be bored enough to measure that? To my surprise, Cole froze. A blush crept up his handsome face again. He turned his head to the side and let out a soft mm. I gasped in shock. Wait, what do you mean, mm? You actually measured? You've got to be kidding me, dude. That's not exactly the statistical average. No way. Absolutely no way. My eyes drifted downward, settling on his crotch. How'd you measure? You didn't start from your asshole, did you? Cole's face turned beet red. Mortified, he stepped forward and clamped a hand over my mouth. Tiffany, don't say things like that in a place like this. Aha. That embarrassed anger. I knew I was right. I took the opportunity to loop my arm through his. Since we both lied, let's just call it even. So, the big reveal was a bust, but we did talk for a long time. It wouldn't be weird to be friends, right? Cole, could you do me a favor? Please. I softened my voice, fluttering my eyelashes and shaking his arm with both hands. Could you just pretend to be my boyfriend at this reunion? Please. Cole's lips thinned as he seemed to consider it. A bust? From the moment Cole Reynolds appeared before me, I knew my online romance was doomed. This was the real world, not some fairy tale. I wouldn't dare dream of being Cinderella. Who was I to think I could date Cole Reynolds? The gap between our family backgrounds was just too vast. He must be regretting this so much right now. I pressed on with my plea. If you help me out, I swear I won't tell anyone about our online thing. And I'll disappear from your life completely. You'll never see me again. How about it? I thought I was being perfectly reasonable, but Cole suddenly got angry. His face darkened, his brow furrowed, and he shot back coldly. Not interested. Then he turned and walked away. It's over. I knew it. We're from different worlds. Even sharing a meal is asking too much. I stared wistfully at Cole's retreating back for a long time before trudging back to the private dining room, completely dejected. Everyone else had already arrived. As soon as I walked in, Liam stood up, looking a little nervous. Tiffany, how do you know Mr. Reynolds? I saw you grabbing his arm. Are you too close? The other classmates started murmuring. Which Mr. Reynolds? You don't mean the billionaire, Cole Reynolds, do you? Oh my God, Tiffany, you know Cole Reynolds? With all eyes on me, Fiona looked furious. Her eyes darted around before she feigned a moment of realization. Oh, I get it. Tiffany, you work at that business magazine, right? You guys just interviewed Cole Reynolds last month. Is that when you met? My mind was still on Cole, so I barely heard what Fiona said and just nodded vaguely. Fiona's expression was knowing. Wow, you're brave. Running up to a guy like that. Anyone who didn't know better would think you two were actually close. A collective sigh of relief went through the room. Another classmate laughed. That's just Tiffany for you. She's always been really outgoing. Fiona chimed in, totally. I still remember how you chased after Liam. It was so dramatic. You brought him breakfast every day and even played the piano for him. Liam added, and that's not all. We took that art history elective together, and Tiffany did the homework for my entire dorm. Fiona giggled, her shoulders shaking. So, Tiffany, where's your boyfriend? Why isn't he here yet? I took a sip of wine, my face expressionless. He had something come up today. He couldn't make it. The words were barely out of my mouth when Liam suddenly snorted with laughter. He pulled out his phone and waved it in front of Fiona. You got me. I lose. $3,000. Sending it now. Fiona beamed, her smile growing wider as she accepted the transfer, looking utterly triumphant. I made a bet with Liam yesterday. I said Tiffany's boyfriend was definitely fake and wouldn't show up today. He didn't believe me. She threw her hands up playfully. Told you I was right. I replied coldly, my boyfriend isn't fake. He really did have something come up. Oh, right. He had something come up. We get it. Fiona winked at the others. Liam shook his head with a pained smile. There goes my hard-earned spending money. That's 3 days' pay. The other classmates were surprised. 3 days' pay? That means you're making $30,000 a month. Damn, Liam, you're doing well for yourself. Where are you working? Liam loosened his tie and clinked glasses with a classmate, feigning modesty. No, that salary's just average at my company. Fiona jumped in, he works at Reynolds Corp. Cole Reynolds is his boss. Well, that explains it. The benefits and pay at Reynolds are top-notch. You're amazing for getting a job there, Liam. The Reynolds headquarters in New York almost exclusively hired master's grads from top international universities. NYU wasn't considered the absolute best of the best, so getting in meant Liam really was quite capable. Suddenly, the table was filled with praise. Someone even joked around. Fiona, you keep him on a tight leash, don't you? A great boyfriend like that, and you won't even let him keep a few grand for himself? Fiona shot Liam a playful glare. We have a mortgage to pay, don't we? It's over $30,000 a month. His salary just covers it, so what's there to save? A mortgage? But you're both from the city. I thought Liam's family already owned a place. Fiona lifted a hand to tuck her hair back, and a Cartier bracelet slid down her wrist, catching on the bone. The tiny diamonds on it glittered under the crystal chandelier. We bought another place on the Upper West Side, a condo in a good school district. For when we get married and have kids. The table fell silent. New York real estate is brutally expensive. For those of us from out of town, even owning a studio apartment would mean draining the bank accounts of our parents and grandparents. A condo in a prime school district, costing tens of thousands per square foot, was something we couldn't even dream of. We were all the same age. While the rest of us were still struggling to make it in the city, Fiona was already planning for her children's education. Jenna's face was full of envy. Fiona, you guys have it so good. You don't have a single financial worry. Fiona said, it was Liam's family that made the down payment. That's why I told you guys in college you have to be smart. Don't be so naive when you're dating. You have to look at the guy's circumstances. The others agreed. After a few drinks, the conversation turned to college memories, and Fiona started dredging up all the embarrassing stories of me chasing Liam. Tiffany was so obsessed back then. Her monthly allowance was only $1,500, but she'd buy Liam breakfast and then go hungry at night herself. Young love was so pure back then. Liam, stand up and toast Tiffany. Look at how you broke her heart. Just as she said, Liam stood up, glass in hand. He gave me a slight smile, his lips pursed. His expression was a mix of 1 part pity, 1 part regret, and 2 parts smugness. Sorry, Tiffany. I met Fiona first. It's time for you to move on, too. Don't get so stuck in the past. At our age, you should probably lower your standards a bit. Stop being so picky. Fiona added, exactly. How many guys are there like Liam? If you're too picky, you'll end up an old maid. This psycho couple. My face was dark, my patience wearing dangerously thin. Are you two incapable of understanding plain English? I told you, I have a boyfriend, and I am not, nor have I ever been, interested in Liam. Fiona, are you that insecure? What's so special about him that I'd be hung up on him for years? He's not even fit to touch the pinky toe of my boyfriend. Just because you've never had anything good, you're constantly worried someone's going to steal your scraps. My taste isn't nearly that bad. You. Fiona slammed her chopsticks down on the table. Tiffany, who are you trying to fool? Your boyfriend? Where is he? If you're so proud, why don't you call him over right now? Liam was pissed, too. His jaw was tight, his tongue pressing against the inside of his cheek as he let out a sneer. Who is this godlike boyfriend of yours, that I'm not even worthy of touching his pinky toe? He doesn't even have to come. We have the internet now. Tiffany, just give us a name. We can look him up. Go on. Tell us. Everyone at the table turned to look at me. Under the weight of all those stares, I could feel sweat breaking out on my forehead. What was I supposed to say? I couldn't just say Cole Reynolds. They'd laugh their heads off. No one would believe me. Whatever. It's not like this is the first time I've been humiliated in front of them. Maybe I should just make a scene, throw my drink in their stupid faces, and then run for it. We'd never have to see each other again. My mind made up, I slowly reached out and tightened my grip on my wine glass. Just then, a strong hand suddenly clasped my shoulder from behind. Sorry everyone, I'm late. I didn't have to turn around. That familiar voice, combined with the ghost-white expressions on everyone's faces, could only mean one thing. Cole was here. Cole smiled faintly, pulled out the chair next to me, and sat down. He pushed a small box across the table toward me. I left the gift I picked out for Tiffany in the car and forgot to grab it. What were you all talking about? Everyone looked so happy. The room was dead silent. Liam's face was beet red, Fiona's was ashen, and the rest of the onlookers were a chaotic mix of wide eyes and hands covering mouths. Their expressions were a colorful, spectacular mess. In front of everyone, Cole reached out and affectionately tousled my hair. What are you staring at? Open it. Huh? Oh. With a thrilled heart and trembling hands, I fumbled with the brown jewelry box on the table. Everyone craned their necks to get a look. Inside, a bracelet lay nestled in the velvet. It was a serpent, completely covered in diamonds, with glowing ruby-red gems for eyes. Fiona shrieked. The Bulgari Serpenti bracelet. That one has to be, what, $500,000? Cole rested his arm on the back of my chair, his knuckles tapping it lightly in what felt like a reassuring gesture. Tiffany's a snake sign, too. It's nothing much. Just something for you to play with. I pressed my lips together, trying desperately to keep the smile from splitting my face. I have never been so grateful to another human being in my entire life. God, angels, my savior, Cole Reynolds, you are my absolute savior. Everyone was stunned into silence by Cole's commanding presence, sitting like wooden chickens. Liam was the first to snap out of it, bowing slightly in a flustered manner. Mr. Reynolds, hello. My name is Liam Chen. I work in the digital media department at Reynolds Corp. Right. Cole gave him a dismissive glance before turning his attention back to me. He placed his hand over mine, almost placatingly. Tiffany, I was so late. You're not mad, are you? Fiona's expression was a twisted mask of shock, horror, and disbelief. I was flying high. Since Cole was willing to play along, I had to go big. This was probably my only chance. I let out a cold huff and playfully smacked his hand away. You're getting cheaper and cheaper. Is this chump change all you've got to appease me? Another wave of shock rippled through the room. Cole was speechless, his eyes narrowing dangerously. Under the table, I placed 2 fingers on his thigh, bent my knuckles into a begging posture, and rubbed them against his leg a few times. Please, my lord, work with me. Without missing a beat, Cole grabbed my hand under the table and held it firmly against his leg. I took my chance to act spoiled, leaning my body against his. We were just talking about condos in good school districts. I forgot to ask you, that villa you bought me before, is it in a good school district? Cole gave me a deep look. I've bought you so many properties. Which one are you talking about? He's good. He's really good. With an intellect like that, no wonder you're a billionaire. Once again, everyone was floored. I was ecstatic, grinning like an idiot. Ugh, it's so annoying. I have so many properties, I can't even keep up with collecting the rent. Cole, who had just taken a sip of his drink, nearly choked. He coughed a few times, his voice low. Don't rent them out. They're all nicely furnished. We don't need the money. No way. It's such a waste to leave them empty. Besides, you only give me $5 million a month for living expenses. It's not nearly enough. Pfft. Jenna, sitting next to me, spit out a mouthful of wine. Tiffany, $5 million a month isn't enough for you? What kind of life are you living? Fiona's face was ashen. She gripped the tablecloth so tightly her knuckles were white, her eyes shooting daggers at me. She forced a smile, her voice dripping with acid. Tiffany, Mr. Reynolds's money doesn't just fall from the sky. You can't be so extravagant. Cole shot her a cold glance. Is it any of your business? She's my woman. I'll spoil her if I want to. He then turned back to me, patting my hand with an adoring look. If money's tight, you should have said something sooner. Starting next month, I'll add another $5 million. Great. And I'm getting sick of all those cars. The Ferraris, the Bugattis, I don't like how low to the ground they are. Get me a new fleet of SUVs. Bullshitting online has nothing on the thrill of showing off in real life. In front of all my old classmates, I performed. I acted. I went all out. Once I got going, I was relentless, lost in the role, giving it my all. 100 different boasts, like 100 stones shaken loose by an earthquake, danced wildly before them. It was a sudden downpour, with spit flying like the rapid beat of a drum, a whirlwind, with tassels of lies flying everywhere, a shower of sparks, with jealous eyes glinting in the light. In that small private room, what a magnificent, what a bold, what an utterly satisfying symphony of bullshit erupted. Liam's face was ashen, and Fiona looked gutted. They held on to each other for support as they left the room, still having to pretend to be gracious as they waved goodbye to me. "Tiffany, bring Mr. Reynolds around again sometime." I shook my head. No need. He's a very busy man. As they staggered into the elevator, I delivered the final blow, muttering just loud enough for them to hear. "We're not in the same circle. No need to force it." The elevator doors closed on their two pale, tormented faces. I jumped up and threw my arms around Cole, laughing. "Ah, that felt amazing." Cole laughed with me. "Tiffany, I think you might have laid it on a little thick back there." "It's fine. It's not like they'll ever find out." "Cole, thank you so much for today." "Oh, right." I pulled the jewelry box out of my bag and pushed it into his hands. "Here, take this back. If you ever need anything from me in the future, just let me know. And don't worry, I'm a woman of my word. I will never bother you again. Well, I should get going. See you." I hadn't taken more than a few steps when I felt a tug on the back of my collar. Cole lifted me back like I was a scruffy kitten, his voice tight with frustration. "Tiffany, are you really going to burn the bridge after you cross it? Use me and then toss me aside?" I looked at him, completely bewildered. Mr. Reynolds, is there something else?" Cole sulked again, his expression unreadable, his eyes dark. He tossed the jewelry box back into my arms. "No. Go on." Then it dawned on me. Right. A guy like him. I couldn't just leave first. I had to see him off. I stood there dutifully, watching until Cole's car had driven out of the parking garage before I hailed a cab to go home. When I got home, it was no surprise that the class group chat had exploded. Even the class president, who hadn't posted in years, came out of the woodwork to chat with me. Watching everyone trip over themselves to praise me, Fiona was practically seething with jealousy. "Liam, what were you thinking? The girl you rejected is being treated like a treasure by Cole Reynolds. Don't you think you should do some self-reflection?" Her tone was as passive-aggressive as ever. Normally, a few people would have chimed in to agree with her, but this time, after she sent her message, the group chat fell completely silent. After a while, Jenna replied. "I think there might be a misunderstanding here. Didn't Tiffany always say she wasn't interested in Liam? Her standards are so high, would she really have chased after him? Maybe you guys just made a lot of that stuff up." "Fiona? Do you have amnesia? Tiffany chased Liam, she bought him breakfast. You don't remember any of that? Jenna, weren't you the one who put her up to all of that?" Fiona was furious. "Wow, it hasn't even been a day and you're already kissing her ass. A guy with Cole Reynolds' status will probably play with Tiffany for a few days and then dump her. She'll be crying her eyes out. It's a little early to be sucking up, don't you think? Jenna, she gets $5 million a month. Even if she gets dumped, she's still doing way better than you. You're barely scraping by with your $30,000 a month mortgage. Maybe you're the one who should be crying." Several people in the chat agreed with Jenna, taking my side. Even Liam spoke up for me. "Alright, I was never in Tiffany's league." "Fiona, stop making things up." Furious and embarrassed, Fiona promptly left the group chat. I found the whole thing pretty meaningless, too. Jenna and I used to be on good terms, but whenever Fiona made fun of me, she'd always play the neutral peacemaker. She'd never taken such a clear stand and gone after someone like she did today. They say college is an ivory tower, but really, the fickle nature of people, sucking up to the powerful and stepping on the weak, is no different from the rest of society. I muted the class group chat and stared listlessly at Cole's profile picture. He hadn't contacted me all night. The next day, nothing. The third day, the fourth day. Cole had simply vanished from my life. When I was at my most embarrassed and helpless, he had appeared like a knight in shining armor, pulling me out of the mire of ridicule and lifting me up to the clouds. It was all as beautiful as a dream. Now, the dream was over. There was no Cinderella and no prince, just a corporate drone who had to keep grinding and a New York tycoon who was galaxies away. Our lives would never intersect again. But, I thought, I will never forget Cole Reynolds. On another mundane workday, Liam suddenly contacted me. "Tiffany, are you free tomorrow? Let's grab dinner." "I don't think that's necessary." I shut him down without a second thought. But to my surprise, he actually showed up at my office the next week. Liam and I sat across from each other in a coffee shop. He had even brought a bouquet of red roses and was apologizing to me. "Tiffany, about what happened in college. Fiona and I were wrong." It was a quiet afternoon. Sunlight streamed through the floor-to-ceiling windows, falling on the wooden tabletop, just like that evening in the music room. Liam rested his chin on his hand, staring at me for a long moment before saying something utterly baffling. "I have to admit, I had feelings for you back then." I was so shocked my face turned into a meme. "Huh? Liam, but I couldn't help it. Fiona lied to me." My surprise continued. "Huh? Fiona told me your parents were just regular office workers, that your family was very average, and that you probably wouldn't be able to stay in New York after graduation." I had to think about practical matters. "But I only found out yesterday that you and Cole Reynolds have known each other for a long time. There's no way your family is average. Fiona must have been jealous and made all that up to slander you." Liam gave a bitter smile, his voice filled with a sense of loss and melancholy as he said with deep regret, "Tiffany, you're an amazing woman. If I could go back in time, I think I would have made a different choice." He then looked at me with deep affection. My scalp tingled. Wait, what the hell is this guy trying to do? Just a few days ago, he witnessed the lovey-dovey spectacle between me and Cole. Has he gone insane? Does he really have the balls to try and steal Cole Reynolds' girl? I stared into my coffee cup, lost in thought, while Liam rambled on, desperately cherry-picking a few sweet moments from our past interactions. When he felt he had reminisced enough, Liam stood up like a perfect gentleman. "That's all for today. There aren't many of us from school left in the city. We should keep in touch." As he reached the door of the coffee shop, he suddenly stopped. "By the way, a few of us are going camping in the countryside next week. Would you be able to make it? You can bring a +1. Liam specifically emphasized the words +1, and it finally clicked. He was getting close to me because of Cole. He probably felt like he'd burned his bridges with me, so he orchestrated this whole scene today, pinning all the blame on Fiona, to try and get back in my good graces. And then what? Use me to climb the corporate ladder? What a sleazeball. A wave of nausea washed over me. No thanks. Cole is really busy. He doesn't have time for boring get-togethers like that. Suddenly, a dark shadow fell over me, and a familiar voice sounded in my ear. "Next weekend? I'm not busy." I jumped. "What are you doing here? Weren't we done? Why would he suddenly show up at my office building?" Cole's face was dark, his eyes fixed on the roses in Liam's hand. "If I hadn't come, were you planning on going camping alone with him? Rekindling an old flame?" I stared blankly at his face. Cole wasn't in a suit today. He was wearing a casual tracksuit and a black baseball cap, which was a rare sight. He looked less like a CEO and more like a superstar idol trying to go incognito. It made him even more handsome. It had been so many days since I'd seen him. This face was even more heart-stopping than I remembered. What did he just say? I didn't catch it. He's so hot. I nodded dumbly. Yeah. Cole was furious. You dare say yes? He grabbed me by the scruff of my neck again and started dragging me away. Behind us, Liam's excited voice called out. It would be such an honor to have you, Mr. Reynolds. That's wonderful. I'll start making the arrangements right now. Outside the coffee shop, a river flowed through the city, its banks lined with green willows. The wind rustled the branches, sending ripples across the water's surface and through my heart. Cole was walking fast, and I had to jog to keep up. Hey, Cole, are you really going camping with them? It's going to be so boring. Cole snorted. You seemed to be having a great time talking to them last time. That was all bull. What's the point of telling the same lies again? I'm out of material. I can't even make stuff up anymore. I stopped, leaning a hand on the railing by the river, panting. Slow down, I can't keep up. Cole raised an eyebrow. This is all the stamina you have? And who was it that said she wanted to go 300 rounds with me when we finally met? My face flushed, and I looked down, embarrassed. You know I like to talk a big game. Cole got angry. Is that all you do? Lie? We talked for a year and a half, and not a single true word came out of your mouth. No truth, and no real feelings. You used me and then threw me away. For 27 days. Tiffany, for 27 whole days, you managed not to contact me at all. He suddenly stepped closer, his hand shooting out to grip my chin. Tiffany, do you really care that little about me? The light from the river reflected in Cole's eyes, sparkling like tiny stars. He was so close to me. My head was spinning, and my heart nearly stopped. Can someone please tell me what is happening right now? Didn't we already have our big disastrous meeting and mutually agree to ghost each other? Why is Cole here asking me all these questions? And wanting to go camping with me? Could it be? Is it possible? No way. That he might. Like me? The thought terrified me. Cole tightened his grip, forcing me to look up at him. Answer me. I gave a tentative little nod. I do care. Cole's eyes darkened. His thumb brushed back and forth over my chin, and he let out a soft huff. Little liar. I don't believe you. Prove it to me. I was dumbfounded. How am I supposed to prove that? My mind went blank for only a second. After all, I'd read enough trashy romance novels to know the drill. I nervously clenched my fists. Then, mustering all my courage, I stood on my tiptoes and leaned in. I'm not misreading this, am I? Whatever. He's this handsome, so kissing him is a win for me either way. The moment our lips touched, both of our bodies flinched. I thought Cole was about to punch me, so I cautiously took a step back, ready to bolt. But instead, he wrapped an arm tightly around my waist, caging me in his arms and deepening the kiss. His chin pressed against mine, the force so strong it felt like he was trying to crush me. My breathing grew ragged, my heart pounded, and my legs turned to jelly. I couldn't help but lean into his embrace. Cole's lips brushed against mine as he let out a soft laugh. That's it? What happened to all that big talk, You don't get it. This is me, lulling you into a false sense of security. Cole, oh? So you have something more impressive planned? You'll see. If this is a dream, I hope I never wake up. Who would have thought? I'm actually dating an NYC tycoon. Do rich people just have really weird taste? I was basking in the bliss of new love, but unfortunately, Cole was incredibly busy this week. We could only video chat every day, and over the phone, my shamelessness returned in full force. Lying in bed, I showed Cole my empty palm. There's a row of claw machines at the coffee shop next to my office. Look what I won. Cole, you spent $100 and that's all you got? Tiffany, you're not very good at this. I propped my chin on my hands and gave him a sultry look through the camera. I may not be good at grabbing stuffed animals, but I'm great at grabbing you. Cole's breath hitched. His Adam's apple bobbed as he said in a hoarse voice. I'm free this weekend. I'll come pick you up. But aren't we supposed to go camping with my old classmates this weekend? Cole, oh, right. But I'm going to be busy for the next 2 months, and I have to go to France. I waved a dismissive hand. Then let's just make up an excuse and not go. It's not like I really want to hang out with them anyway. I'm sick of bullshitting. Cole's eyes lit up. Then it settled. Come over to my place this weekend. On Saturday, what started as a beautiful, sunny day suddenly turned stormy. A fierce wind blew through the garden, bending a delicate rose into a neighboring thorn bush, their branches tangling and becoming one. Cole's voice was hoarse, sweat dripping into his hair. You can shop for 3 hours and not get tired, but after 3 minutes of this you say you can't go on. Tiffany, are you slacking off? I collapsed onto him, shamelessly pressing my face against his chest. It's been so long. My legs are so sore and tired. What am I going to do? Cole sighed in resignation. Then I guess we'll just have to switch to a less tiring method. The clouds parted and the rain stopped. My phone started buzzing non-stop. I opened the class group chat and saw that Fiona and the others were already setting up their tents in the countryside. A classmate who lived out of town asked curiously, "Where's Cole Reynolds? Post some pictures of him." Fiona, he didn't come. Huh? Why not? I thought he was going camping with you guys. Something about being busy with work. Oh, well, that makes sense. Fiona. Huh, busy with work is just an excuse. Cole Reynolds definitely already dumped Tiffany. With looks like hers, he probably got bored of her in a week. An idea sparked in my mind. I deliberately pressed the voice message button. Cole, you remember my classmate, Liam, right? Cole was in that quiet moment after, his voice lazy. Yeah, what about him? I think he works at Reynolds Corp, too. That was enough. A minute later, I immediately unsent the message. As for how Liam would be panicking, terrified that Fiona would get him fired, and how the two of them would have a massive fight, well, that wasn't my problem. I did hear that they broke up not long after. Fiona caused a huge scene at Liam's office, and he got fired before his probationary period was even over. He tried to contact me a few times after that. The last time he called, I answered. In the background, the familiar melody of All of Me was playing. I'm having coffee by the Seine right now. What's up? Sorry. It's nothing. Liam mumbled an apology and hung up. Cole looked up from his desk and glanced helplessly out the window. You call that little stream next to your crappy rental the Seine? Tiffany, can't you ever stop bullshitting? It's none of your business. I laughed and threw my arms around his neck. I got you by bullshitting. A girl can't forget her roots. Cole chuckled and leaned in close to my ear. Then do you also remember what you said about? My face turned beet red, and I slapped a hand over his mouth. Shut up. No one else can hear that. That was our little secret. Cole's epilogue. Work stress has been getting to me lately. I've started having terrible insomnia. Every night I lie in bed, my eyes so heavy they feel glued shut, but my mind is painfully awake. The day's events replay like a slow-motion movie, frame by agonizing frame. My head throbs. I'm exhausted. My cousin recommended a few therapists, but nothing worked. Then she suggested, why don't you just try talking to someone? You don't mean an online stranger, do you? Why would I need that? Isabel nodded. Everyone needs emotional support. You're too guarded with people you know. A stranger online is different. You won't have your walls up. Just try it. Isabel randomly opened a social app and picked a profile. The avatar was a picture of a girl in a face mask. You couldn't see her features, just a pair of eyes, bright and innocent like Bambi's. I felt a surge of resistance. Why a girl? Pick a guy. I've dated a few women in real life. It was incredibly boring. Their desires and ambitions were written all over their faces. All they could think about was becoming Mrs. Reynolds. The last thing I needed was more of that fake affection. But Isabel was insistent and sent the person a friend request. This one. Say hello. Out of spite, I immediately stated who I was. Hi, I'm Cole Reynolds. Tiffany, whoa, you have the same name as that NYC tycoon? It's not the same name. That's me. Go ahead, I thought. Call me a liar. Or switch to that sweet, sycophantic tone and start sucking up to me. Tiffany, what a coincidence. I'm the Princess of LA. I looked up at Isabel, surprised. You're the Princess of LA? Then who does that make my cousin? Isabel burst out laughing. This is the one. This is definitely the one. Talk to her. I tentatively sent another message. I've been having really bad insomnia lately. Tiffany, that's nothing. I haven't slept in like 7 or 8 days. Me, what? My finger slipped and accidentally hit the voice call button. She answered almost immediately. Hello, Cole? Her voice was sickly sweet, like a vanilla ice cream cone in the summer. I gave a cool You have insomnia, too? I didn't think it was possible for a person to go 7 or 8 days without sleep. Tiffany, of course it is. Let me tell you, one time I was exploring the Amazon, and I was being chased by a python. I didn't close my eyes for 8 straight days. Me, what? What was this nonsense? It was more ridiculous than a fantasy novel. I wanted to hang up, but for some reason, the rhythm of her voice was mesmerizing. It had a magical quality that just pulled you in. Listening to her talk, I quickly fell asleep. It was the best night's sleep I'd had in a long time. Other people have digital pets. I have a digital sleeping pill. Not bad. I can't pinpoint the exact moment I fell for Tiffany. I guess dependency becomes a habit, and slowly, I found I couldn't live without her. Every day, I craved our chats, listening to her spin her ridiculous tales in that syrupy sweet voice. It was the most relaxing part of my day. We started acting like a couple. She was constantly flirting with me, saying the most outrageous things. A string inside me was pulled taut. The desire to see her became overwhelming. I suggested we meet, but she refused. I was really disappointed that day. My assistant brought me my schedule, reminding me I had an interview with a business magazine that afternoon. I wasn't in the mood and was about to tell him to cancel it when my eyes drifted over the interview request. At the bottom, in the signature line, I saw a familiar name. Tiffany Sullivan. I wasn't sure if it was her. At the magazine's office, I pulled out my phone and voice called her. A pretty girl in a white blouse and a pencil skirt shrank against a wall and furtively answered her phone. Hey, Cole, I'm at work. Her personality was just as sweet as her voice. I hung up, completely satisfied. It's so good to finally meet you, girlfriend. For our first official meeting, I thought it would be a private thing between us. I didn't expect it to be a class reunion. Tiffany told me straight up. The big reveal was a bust. It was absurd. What had the last year and a half been, then? Who did she think I was? A digital pet? I was so angry I wanted to leave. But then, in the car, I saw the gift I had so carefully picked out for her. I made up an excuse to go back, thinking I'd at least give her the gift before I left. When I got to the door of their private room, I overheard her classmates ridiculing her. All my anger vanished. Whatever. She's my girlfriend. I can't let other people bully her. Tiffany is something else. She used me and then tossed me aside. It's been almost a month since she last contacted me. I was holding a grudge, refusing to be the first one to reach out. I wanted to see if I really meant nothing to her at all. My insomnia came back. I couldn't take it anymore. I went to her office building, only to see that pretty boy giving her roses. Tiffany, you win. I'll let you keep winning. How does that sound?